So that deal, according to the Players Association and Amanda Kristovich in that article, they basically say it's below industry standard. College football players' response, ha, psych! What is up, everybody? It is Jake with the MF Film Room back. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be updated on all things EA college football, hit that red subscribe button. Do it, please. I'm telling you, I'm close to you. I had a banger last week, still burning through the algorithm. Want to keep this thing going. Hit that red subscribe button. You will not be disappointed. Also, hit the like button too. And again, you guys will be updated on everything EA college football related. If you're into college football content, go into my description here and go after the Master Football with Jake Posey link there that will be in the description. Again, that will be college football content. But enough about all that EA college football content right now. Let's go. So we had that really cool update from EA last week in regards to the helmets that are going to be in the game. Shutt and Vicus, they're going to be in the game. I had that video about that. It's still burning through the algorithm. It's doing pretty well right now. But what I want to do is talk about a small nugget about the commentary in the game and a bigger thing about who is actually going to be in the game, because we got some gigantic news about who's going to be in the game and bigger news about who's not going to be in the game. Let's go. The first thing here from Bring NCAA Back, and again, this right here is To Be Light. He's a YouTuber himself. He's got an Instagram page. He's got a YouTube. He's got himself a Twitter. Go out there and follow him. But again, he says here, not too sure about these lines. We talk about the fact that Kevin Connors has leaked a few voice lines for College Football 25. We see here the fact that he says Kevin Connors, ESPN, and that's a wrap. EA Sports, College Football, ESPN, College Football 25. Now, you've got this right here. You've got his little mic. He's got his computer. And then look right here. You've got the specific things that he's going to be saying. Well, the great thing about the internet is somebody out there was able to zoom in on these to actually see what he's talking about. So again, we've got a couple things here. We've got the Ohio State and Illinois rivalry, and whatever there is there. We got Army Navy, which is a big rivalry. And then we have Alabama and Auburn, the Iron Bowl down here. So for Ohio State versus Illinois, he says, fellas, it's one thing to have a rivalry game, but when you have two longtime foes battling for a prize like the Illabuck Trophy, you know emotions tend to run high. I mean, Kevin Connors, I don't know how you sound like, okay? I'm just saying that's what you would say here. Army Navy says, guys, there are rivalries, and then there is the undeniably the most meaningful rivalry in sports, and the battle for the chance to sing second in today's Army-Navy game has been a sight to behold. Talking about that there. And then down here at the bottom, we have the specific quote that he has about soda pop. He says, guys, from Tuscaloosa to the Plains, there are some ornery folks and some emotional fan bases enjoying a soda pop and a lot of trash talk in this battle between the Tide and War Eagle. And again, basically what To Be Light was saying here is, I don't know how many people actually say soda pop in the state of Alabama. Again, I don't really know. I know I said pop myself up in Montana when I was growing up. But right now we have the fact that, again, Kevin Connors, in addition to, we saw a couple other of those announcers are going to be in the game, multiple broadcast crews. Absolutely love it. This is not the main point of this video. We're actually going to get about that right now. So there was an article that came out a couple of weeks ago talking about the compensation and the specifics of the agreement for you to be in the game if you're a college football player. Now, needless to be said, on Front Office Sports, the article we're about to show you here, they were not very big fans of that deal. We're going to get into the reason why, and then we're going to get into whether or not the players agree with them or not. And we're not going to go through the entire article here, but we see over here from February 22nd of 2024 by Amanda Kristovich of Front Office Sports. She says, quote, treated like children, and again, this quote she had, college players offered $600 and no royalties. The EA Sports college football video game is a highly anticipated across college sports. The deal appears to be below industry standard. Now, the thing about this, and I want to make sure that we're clear about this here, it says the NIL deals offered to players aren't quite up to industry standard. Beyond the one-time payment, the players will not receive royalties tied to the game sales, even though the practice is common amongst the sports video game landscape. I'm going to go into a second here about why that may or may not be a apples to apples comparison here. We see the fact that also, in addition to that, the College Football Players Association, which is an unofficial representation entity of college football players, says that the athletes are of the second most popular sport in America are being treated like children, the group said. So in addition to the article, in addition to that players association, basically those people are saying, all right, this is not a fair deal. The players, this is not fair. This is not fair. This is not fair. A good question to ask is whether or not the players agree or not. Let's see whether or not they agree or not. So that deal, according to the Players Association and Amanda Kristovich in that article, they basically say it's below industry standard. College football players' response, psych. 10,000 plus players are in the game at this point. EA Sports College Football says 10K and counting. Pretty good. Hashtag CFB25. And my boy Matt Brown responded to it. He says, this would mean that any organized opposition to the proposed opt-in contract is now pretty much already dead. Over 10K is roughly 90% of the eligible athletes already signed. Now, we saw Amanda Kristovich. She represents front office sports. We also see the CFBPA representing, hoping to represent eventually. And again, we saw the thing about the Dartmouth basketball, the fact that they're already eligible to be able to unionize. So again, unions might come. However, right now, the players currently without union representation are basically saying, yeah, we're going to be in the game. And the thing about that, you have to remember here, we have 134 teams and we have 85 scholarship players. Remember here, if any of you who are playing NCAA 2014, I'm currently playing right now, they only had 70 players in the game. I think the reason why they only had 70 players in the game was because it was hard to calculate an additional 15 extra players times 126 teams, the number of teams in the game. So 134 teams in this next year's game. Remember, we're adding in Kennesaw State. They are an FBS team in the Conference USA. 134 times 85 equals 11,390. So we're just going to assume that right now they said it's 11,000 or 10,000 plus. Right now there's only about 1,300. There's maximum 1,300 players, 1,390 players left who have not signed the deal. Again, the CFBPA, Amanda Kristovich, we appreciate your input. However, the players completely disagree with you. Now, Matt Brown was able to offer up one really good question that I did not think about here. So again, here from JT Gensler, he says, tweet at Matt Brown, EP. Not sure if you heard anything on this. I haven't seen it anywhere else. Will true freshmen be in CFB 25 game? I know current players can opt in, but there's a cutoff date, right? Are they already signed incoming freshmen allowed to opt in the game as well? And he says, quote, the, quote, deadline, unquote, to opt into the current deal is April 30th, so any freshman who is enrolled and academically eligible can't opt in by then could be in the game. April 30th is not an etched-in-stone deadline, quote, roster change after all, unquote. He says, but devs make no promise after April 30th. So the big question about that. So he says they're academically ineligible and are enrolled. And remember here, if you're in a college football, a lot of players, they decide, okay, well, I'm just going to skip out the second semester of my high school career and enroll in January to be able to practice with the team and so on and so forth. You're able to see that in the game here. Whether or not those players who are like, you know what, I'm going to enroll in July or August or June or something like that, whether or not they're eligible in the game, it might not be right away. Remember, they said here April 30th. That's the cutoff. Whatever they do beyond that, we're going to see. So this is awesome. The fact they're including all this stuff in the game. But remember here, I had a quote there. I had at the very beginning where I basically said there was a little bit of drama with this about who's not going to be in the game. And I don't want to say this is a mistake because remember here, the person who is opting out of this game so far is somebody who has a much more intelligent camp than I am myself. But I cannot admit anything beyond the fact that I think this is absolutely a 100% mistake to not be opting into this game for the purposes of what they say. But check out what your boy Arch Manning is doing right now. So from Front Office Sports, Arch Manning will not opt into the EA College Football Game 25. According to a report from Anwar Richardson, Manning is, quote, focused on playing football on the field. I am not going to go through the comments here because all the comments basically said that is one of the dumbest logics we've ever heard in the entire world. Thinking about this right now. So Arch Manning already is a hot rod of, drama and this and that throughout just because it's a Manning, okay? He's just going to be I should say not a hot rod, but a lightning rod in terms of attracting attention. It's a Manning. And remember here, he's sitting behind Quinn Ewers, who had a very, very good season, only lost to UW and Oklahoma in that rivalry game, the Red rivalry or the Red River rivalry. So with that, they're basically saying, okay, well, we're not really sure. Is Quinn Ewers the guy? Arch Manning, he's going to be eligible. He can't redshirt the season. He's actually able to play. So with all of that, he decides, you know what? I know what's going to make me focus on football, making a big story about not being in the first video game for college sports in the last 11 years. Remember here, Sam Hartman actually came out and said, dude, I played college football for 5, 6 years and I still wasn't in the game. I'm absolutely furious about being disincluded or not being able to be included in the game. Arch Manning is operating on the understanding that by not being in the game, he's going to focus on playing the field. Now, I want to make sure that we're clear about something. I'm going to come off the camera here and show you what he says he's not going to do in order to opt into the game. So Arch Manning basically saying, you listen, I'm not going to opt into the game. It's too much of a distraction. I don't want to do all of that. So basically what he said was he didn't want to do this. And now he thinks that there's going to be less attention on him. So he didn't do that. The report came out that he didn't do that. And now we're going to be talking about it for weeks on end right now. As a matter of fact, the big thing about this right now is, again, Arch Manning. So Starch Lanning is going to be everybody knows they're going to edit it. You can't necessarily, if somebody doesn't opt into the game, you can't make them in the game themselves. So it's not going to be Arch Manning. It's going to be Starch Lanning. He's going to be quarterback instead of quarterback 16. He's going to be quarterback 6, something like that. Remember here, this is a bigger distraction for Arch Manning than just opting into the game and having the news story go away. But remember, the Manning camp, they know what they're doing. Apparently, I don't really get it. But again, that's the story right now. 10,000 plus players are in the game. They do not give a dang about whatever the discrepancy of the compensation. Oh, we're not able to do it. Whatever that is, they're totally fine with all that. Arch Manning says he doesn't want to be in the game to take the attention off of being in the game and so on to focus on football. However, all we're going to do is talk about the fact, hey man, why weren't you in the game? That's going to be the number one question for him at all news press conferences. All right, guys, so that report came out. Remember, hey, if your player's in the game right now, he's probably in the game right now. Your favorite player, he's probably going to opt in. There are 1,300, holdouts still at this point. Remember here, these are college students, and getting them to do anything on time is unbelievable. But I do think that this will be more of a problem in later games, but not right now because it's the first game in 11 years. These players are absolutely jacked about it. They're going to be in the game. They get $600, and they're going to be immortalized for forever being in a video game. What do you guys think about all this? Do you think Arch Manning made a mistake by not opting into the game? I personally think he did. But whatever you guys think, get in the comments and let me know. And also remember, please, you stay here this far, hit the red subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Dude, if an additional 1% of people subscribe to my channel who already watched my videos, I would be monetized at this point. I really appreciate that. I'm so humbled by how many of you guys are actually watching my videos. But remember, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and also follow me on Twitter/X. Link is in the description. That'll be it for me, guys. I'll see you guys later. I am out.